part one we spoke of Anna May's early life growing up in County Laois, her camogie days and commencing work with the National Clown Association. Anna May, we'll take you back perhaps to the very, very beginning of the Clown Championships, and there's a great story about Kildare and Wexford.
There is indeed. Dennis Allen of Gorey, and he was in politics, and so was J.J. Bergen, the founder, and they had met, I think, maybe at a political meeting, but anyway, in the course of conversation, they were wondering were the Kildare men better ploughmen than the Wexford men, and they decided they'd run a competition. But in that competition, they had 7 counties taking part by invitation, and it was held in Athy. And they agreed then whatever county would win would host the following year. So it all started out with that. And I was looking back at an old records and looking at the little catalogue that got printed. And the cost of the running that event was £9, 3 and 6pence. And the little catalogue was 3D. That was the price of the catalogue. But mind you, they had a nice committee, very good committee, and they appointed their judges for the competition and all of that. But Wexford won, and they hosted it the following year. And then it was held in Clondalkin the following year. And for many years then it had been going around to different counties that were willing to host the event. It was all about horse clowning, of course, in the early years. And then in the late 40s, I'd say 49, 50, we had a tractor competition began to come into the event. And then that took off very well. I can go back to when we had 20 and 25 exhibitors. Today we'd have 1,500, and we'd have all kinds of different supporting side shows. For example, in '84 we introduced the fashion show, which is absolutely a tremendous success. 3 shows each day over the 3 days. We have ICA, who play a very prominent role at the event, and we introduced the livestock in 1988. We have all the pedigree breeders showing off their livestock. The forestry has come into it. The motor cars, we had 17. This year we had 17 different makes of cars on display, but we're delighted that it has grown so much. Hard work, a lot of people would be feel they have their association, they work hard for it, a lot of voluntary work, and from all the counties, and to get the attendance that we get now, nearly 281,000 over 3 days in a little village like Rathneska is something else.
It's amazing. But what fascinates me is, when did it really begin to take off? I mean, it's got to be the biggest in Europe now.
Yes.
But when did that charge really start?
I suppose the real surge in the machinery end of it would have come in the early 1960s, when I saw a huge growth in the machinery section. I suppose it's a shop window for the people to show off their products. And I find that the attractions every year are marvellous. And I remember well, in '89 we got the Nissan Classic going through Oak Park Research Centre. That's where we were staging the event. And because it had internal roads, we were able to persuade Nissan to do the ride through there. But a lot of urban people came to the event then, and I know well that they have been coming since, because they got the book, I would say, for the whole event. It's a good event to be at. There's practically everything that you want to see there. There's a good atmosphere, and that's something you have to create. We are affiliated to the World Ploughing Organisation, and there are 31 countries affiliated there, and we have been extremely lucky that our men have come out on top the last few years. We have a world champion and a runner-up here, one in Wexford and one in Carlow. And when you see so many other countries there represented, and we are top of the list when the results come out, it's absolutely something that, well, you're very proud of course, and you're very overcome by that.
And how does it feel to be the person at the helm of the biggest outdoor event in Europe? It's an extraordinary thing for you, Anna May, to be there at the very top.
Well, I can tell you it's frightening at times when one would think of that, but I have a good group of people. I surround myself with good people, and that's important, and that you can trust them and depend on them. You could not do that on your own. To make sure that everybody that comes there to the event is looked after properly, met properly, and courtesy doesn't cost anything, but it's frightening in a way I worry about it. I needn't tell you, I just don't go to bed and sleep the month before the event, because you wake up in the morning and you think of, look, that must be attended to, or I didn't do such a thing. But it is a big responsibility. But sure, if I'm not able for it now, I'll never be able for it.
It's been a super success, super show, the National Ploughing. Where do you see it going from here?
I wouldn't like to see it getting any bigger. I'd like to see it improving whatever we can for the people that are already there. I think it has grown enough now for us to be able to handle it properly. And the fact that we go to different counties every year, it means you're dealing with a new committee and all of that. Very fortunate in my own county in Leeds to be there for 3 years. We move to Offaly next year, but I have no doubt but the people of Tullamore will meet us and greet us with great courtesy and respect, and they will pull out all the stops to make it a success as well.
Indeed. Well, of course, down through the years, your own family have played a central role in the entire success of this. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my late husband John, he was very much encouraging me in my role, very helpful, but yet played, he took a back step in it, really. He didn't want to go out to be seen in the forefront at all. But John was always the person that would give you advice. If you said, I'm going to do something, it might be a hasty decision, and he'd always say to me, maybe you would leave that until tomorrow. But didn't want to get involved at national level at all, but he was a great stabiliser, that's what I can say about him. Great man for telling the stories, and I can say that missed very, very much from the family, and missed by the locals, because anyone that would come in, he'd always have their story to tell. But they were great times when we were all together. DJ and Anne-Marie have been exceptionally good to me. They play a great role. DJ is chairman of the Laois Ploughing Association. He also tied for second place in the recent event in Rathneska. Anne-Marie was Queen of the Plough a few years back, and they were involved from day one, really, and I suppose that in itself, they couldn't help it anyway, because they'd hear me talking about ploughing and activities connected with it, and they were all great memories to have.
Well, clearly you have a great love of community, and I suppose that manifests itself in many ways. You have a passion play here that you put on every 5 years in the village.
Well, that was extraordinary, I can tell you that. We had a drama group in Ballylinen, and we had that year The Hiker, we had The Field, which was a great success, and many other shows. So one of them had been finished, and we were wondering when the group met what we would do next. And a few of the people from Ballylinen had been out to Aberamagow, and there was a suggestion, who made it, I don't know, but that we would do the passion play. And we had 5 people at our first meeting, and I would say we had between 25 and 30 at the second meeting. And from there it sprung, and then the big question was who was going to produce it. So I went to a lady, Sheila Graham. She's now a retired teacher from Ballylinen National School, and I asked Sheila, and Sheila said, sure, I have never produced a play, only just the children's play at Christmas, but she had been to Aberamagow, and she was one that really could do it. Sheila agreed to produce it, and then we had to go and look for all the characters that was needed. Now, it was a wonderful achievement, because on the stage in Ballylinen, it was quite a small stage, I must say. It was formerly the old church in Ballylinen, but in all, on the final nights, we would have a total of 170 people on the stage. But we knew our stage wouldn't be able to do anything for that type of number, and we got people that were involved in the Passion Play who made a stage for us. That was when the carpenters came in. We had carpenters that made the big crosses to go on the stage. The stage was made in order that the crosses could sink down into gun barrel pieces on the stage, and all of that took place. It was a 3-hour production. It was absolutely fantastic. But then again, I can never overlook the fact that Father O'Shea, who was then parish priest, gave us every encouragement. Frightened out of his life, I would say, that we wouldn't be reverent in doing it, but on the other hand, he had great confidence in us, and every night he would come and sit looking at the rehearsing.
And do people come from all over?
All over, and particularly on the Wednesday night and the Good Friday night. And we never used to hold it on Holy Thursday, because we were always going to the chapel. But this year we did for the first time because there was such demand for tickets. And as the priest said then, look, what you'll be doing in the hall and the stage, I'd only be preaching that in the church. So go ahead with it on the Thursday night.
And after all that huge involvement, do you have time for anything outside of ploughing, outside of work?
Well, I love the bit of gardening, I have to say, and I love the springtime, and I think May is a beautiful month when you see all the new shoots coming out and the blossoms and everything like that. And I particularly like the roses, and I have a good few, and I suppose it wouldn't be strange to say that I could nearly talk to the flowers, and particularly to the roses. I'd be admiring the different shades. I really love the bit of gardening. It would be my dearest wish. I cannot pass a nursery, I can tell you that. I always go in to see what's new on the counter, new pot plant or something like that. I'm very fond of the flowers.
Well, clearly, Anna May, you're a woman very much in touch with your home community, very much in touch with rural Ireland and the land. And it's been an absolute privilege for us to visit you here in your home in Ballylinan today. You're a wonderful ambassador for your lovely county of Laois, and above all, you're a great ambassador for the country of Ireland. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.
Today.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Anna May. In our next episode, we travel to County Kilkenny to meet the legendary hurling